It's very, very basic, and it's very, very beginning. Last night I went through these slides for a few minutes, and I'm all, you know what, I don't like this class, but I didn't have enough time to put the one I like together. So it's basic. It's, I guess, if those of you who went to college, we call it 101. So negotiating 101. And I've been going to a lot of seminars and a lot of trainings, and I'm putting together an advanced negotiating class that dives really deep into NLP and some other persuasion techniques. So I will be launching that in the next couple of weeks, and I want you guys to come to that, especially since you got the beginner one. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. You like that idea?
Yes.
Okay. Negotiating for real estate agents. So some of the things that we have to think about, Martha, I'll give you anything you want if you turn the air down a little bit.
Oh, yes.
All right. Perfect.
I thought it was just me.
No, it's freaking hot in here. What was I saying? So here we are as real estate agents, right? We work our tushes off all day. Like, dude, talking about door knocking, it's going to be 100 degrees, right? Like, if you nail something like that, a good lead, a listing, and now you don't have the capacity or bandwidth to negotiate properly and you lose it to another agent, is that worth it? No. Just doesn't make any sense, right? So real estate, if we look at it as a big pie, there's all these slivers and pieces, right? How many pieces are in a pizza or a pie? 10, 12? And real estate's kind of looks like that, and negotiation is one of those slivers that we need to pay very close attention to. And I practiced negotiation back in the day because I was 19 years old. I didn't know what to do, what to say, so I started learning NLP, and I started playing around with different techniques that really made a difference in my career. But one of the things I found out, it helped everywhere in life, like negotiating with my spouse, negotiating with my children, negotiating at the desk at the airlines for first class, get me some pretty nice upgraded suites. So when you learn how to negotiate, it's just not for real estate. You know, you could talk anybody into anything and help people make good decisions, right? So let's go through this. I left it the way it was. I didn't even change it. So this is doesn't need to be talked about because you guys know who I am. This isn't for anybody else. I think I did that class for somebody else a while ago. The mindset. There's a lot of sweethearts at this company, right? You're just super nice. Oh, do anything for anybody. And I love that mentality. But would you agree that real estate's a dog-eat-dog business?
Yes. Yeah.
So eat or be eaten, right?
Yeah.
So you have to get this mindset. These things really matter. Are you commissioned, right? Like, we only make money if we do our job and close an escrow. It's not like you can go to a 9-to-5 job. Have you ever seen 9-to-5 people, they kind of half-ass everything and they still get their paycheck? Well, we don't really get that. We have to close the deal. So you got to keep in mind, look, I don't make money unless I close the deal. Are you self-employed? Are you a business owner? Do you want to be someday? Now, when I say do you want to be someday, it doesn't have to be real estate. You can own a coffee shop. You can own whatever you want. Right? But you need to learn these skills to be able to be successful in business. You can always be mediocre at anything, but to be fantastic, you got to learn this. I just want a better life, and that's what I was talking about. If you go through life not negotiating, it's really hard because everybody will walk all over you. You'll say yes to everybody. You'll always be the person in the middle seat. You'll always be the person at the back of the line. You'll always be the person with the view of a mountain instead of the beach. Okay? So as I go through these things, picture some of the things, and maybe in the last couple months, if you went on a summer vacation with your family, picture some of the things that you went and go, you know what? I flew how many hours to Nashville? I should have been in first class. Right? I should have gotten the suite. I should have gotten this. I should have gotten that. And now, maybe with some of the techniques we learn, you'll get it. Persuasion is another word for negotiation. I tend not to use it because a lot of people think it's a cheesy word or it's like a mean word. Like, negotiating sounds a little better than persuading somebody, right? Or suckering them into something. So persuasion is a word you'll hear me use not too often. But we go through life persuading, and we don't even realize it. One of my mentors, he was talking at a seminar I was at a few weeks ago in Laguna, and he was talking about how his 9-month-old baby persuades. So the baby's only 9 months old, and every time the mom takes a bite, he goes, "Wah," and pretends to cry. Crazy, right? And if you think about it, a 9-month-old kid is persuading mom to feed him, or her. Yeah, I guess it's a him. But the baby's not really crying, but it's learned to go, "Meh." So it gets attention, right? It's kind of like our dog, right? Our deaf dog, it comes to you and just takes its paw and goes doof, 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 all day long until you actually like pet it and love it, and he's persuading you. So if you don't know that you're persuading somebody, you need to open up your mind and say, how am I talking somebody into this? Or before you persuade somebody, you want to ask them, what am I going to do? What am I going to say? How am I going to set the stage for this conversation or event or whatever it is you're going to be at? Think about it. Be thoughtful and intentional about how you're going to negotiate. I just want to save money. That's another really big one for me. I watch people all day buy cars and houses and all kinds of stuff, and I just shake my head sometimes and go, wow, like you just got hosed. And when I really learned this was in the beginning of my career, I focused intensely on for sale by owners. And I would watch for sale by owners get screwed day after day after day, and I go, you guys, man, I just can't believe what you're doing. So saving money when you're buying anything. One of my favorite things to do, and Andy probably remembers this well growing up, I'd sit on the beach and have margaritas and teach them how to negotiate with the dudes on the beach, right? And I'd say, here's $5. They'd come back, Dad, he wants $20. I go, get back out there, say this, 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 this. Pretty soon he'd come back with a hammock or, a little, whatever it was, but he learned how to negotiate, And it was fun to watch. And these guys walk away all pissed off with the little kid who just totally, they didn't even know what happened to him, right? So I've really liked studying it. So anyways, let's move on. You guys know I love personality styles, and the most important part is personality style. We did a class, what was it, not too long ago on, does anybody remember the last time I brought up personality styles? It comes regularly. It wasn't too long ago, right? So then I had a mentor group, some of the HomeSmart agents that needed me one-on-one. So 3 out of the 5 or whatever were at the class, and I said, let's go through the personality styles and let's work on some role playing. And 3 out of the 5 could not remember personality styles or what the differences were. So as I teach all the time, and since personality style is the most important thing, I always want to talk about it again. Can somebody confidently raise their hand and tell me what a driver is?
Somebody drives a car.
You want
Go
to,
ahead.
somebody who basically is straightforward. They don't want the chit chat. They want just the get-go. Like, just tell me what it is. Don't give me fluff. Straight to the point.
Right. So we'll dive deeper later, but a driver is somebody that just needs good information quickly. You'll find drivers that don't return your phone calls. They don't really want to stop in the hallway and talk to you. There's, hey, what's up? They're typically business owners or bosses. They kind of take control of everything, and they can do anything you can do but better. Right? It's a pretty intense person. And you watch the movies and you always see that boss that's a jerk, and never giving the Christmas bonuses out and all that stuff. That is a driver, if you could picture that. Yeah, that's a real driver. So when we go to a listing appointment, you can imagine how treating a driver might be. Somebody else like an amiable might say, hey, let's sit down and let's have some tea and really talk and get to know each other, right? And the drivers are my favorite. They're like, give me the price. What are you gonna do? Why are you the best? You have 30 seconds. Get the hell out of my house. Woohoo! Come on, right? I love that type of personality style. You're in and out, under 20 minutes no matter what when it's a driver, if you know your presentation and you know how to mirror and match them. So the drivers are very important to notice because they will walk all over you if you're not super confident, super fast, to the point, and very educated, right? Very educated. There's, have you guys ever heard that book? I guess it is called Persuasion by Cialdini. There's basically 6 traits that every human needs for to be able to persuade them. And one of them is they have to be right. And if you let a driver be right and you're quick with them, it's a done deal. Expressive. Who wants to tell me about an expressive?
You.
Okay, who else?
Very social, very
All right.
talkative. And
All right, so this is, let me ask the question again. Who would like to describe what an expressive is? Put your hand up if you think you know what it is. Okay, so we'll do it again. So Andy, Lo, Martha, what's your name again? Did you, oh no, you raised your hand, oh, Laura. Yeah, that's right. And then, did you raise your hand? No, somebody over there did. But it was, and Gene did, it was a group of expressives, right? Me. I want to do it. So expressives are very much like me, right? We're very social animals. We like to brag a lot. We like to wear bright colors and clothes. You know, it's funny as I watch analyticals, and my ex-partner, Scott, my brother-in-law that I had SUV leasing with, he was analytical, and whenever I would wear something unusual, he would just come to me, and we had a pretty good open relationship, and he goes, how the hell did you walk out of the house like that? Did you see what you're wearing? What are those socks? Like, who are you, and why do you feel that you need to stand out that much? I go, it's fun, dude. Like, yeah, I like to wear fun, bright stuff, and he's just blown away. And he goes, do you realize that if I look at you like that, I think you're an idiot? I think you're just like a joke. That's the mindset of an analytical, right? So expressives are always going to drive the nice cars. They live well beyond their means. They'll do anything to say, look at me, but they like to talk a lot about themselves. And if you're talking about something that you've done, you've had, you appreciate, an expressive like me is going, how can I top that story? We're not even listening to you. We're trying to figure out how we can top that story. So if you're at a listing appointment, they're also fun, and I can notice an expressive right away. And if you listen to our open house training, one of my favorite things to do is when I had an open house, I'd look out the window to see what kind of car they drove up in. That would be my first indicator. Was it a Prius or was it a Vet? Was it a Lamborghini or was it a Buick? I could tell. I'd be like, this is perfect. So an expressive, when they come over, or when you go over to their house, they want to talk all about their house. And they will make shit up like you would not believe. Like, for reals. Like, the lot will be from here to the thing, and they'll be, this is the biggest lot in the neighborhood. It's worth at least $100,000 more. And you're like, looking over the wall, dude, it's twice as big. Nope, mine's the biggest lot. I have the nicest this. And they'll go on and on and on and tell you about how expensive the paint and carpet was. Have you ever dealt with somebody like that? And that's cool. You know why? All you have to do is shut up, let them do all the talking, say one word here and there. They love you and they don't know why. It's because most birds of a feather flock together, right? So we like to hang out with people that are like. So when an expressive is in a room, like all my best friends are expressive. Like they're all crazy, outgoing, always trying to outdo each other. But when I get around somebody that lets me talk, I'm like, I really like that person. So the same way with the seller that's an expressive, you let them talk all they want, and then they're just like, you know what, Mike, we're gonna be great friends. I really like you. And you're just like, what an idiot. But it's true. You know what, this is the nicest house in the world. I can't wait. I'm gonna get you the record-breaking sale, and you're gonna be able to tell all your neighbors, sign here. You know, and they're just like, yeah. I want all the neighbors to think I'm awesome. And it's crazy how it works. But when it comes to negotiating with them, you have to be very careful to let them talk, let them be right, let them brag about everything. And then slowly but surely, you let them think. Reciprocity, is that the word I'm looking for? If I do something for you, you do something for me? How do you say it?
Yeah. You said it right.
Oh, good. All right. Wow.
You're pretty smart.
I knew I should have went to college. So expressives are very much into that. Like, they will not sleep at night knowing they owe you something. They're like, whoa, that guy did something for me, I gotta do it back for him. So who was here for Cindy's mentor class the other day? Okay, I brought you guys the guilt gifts, right? The wine things. So those are perfect for expressives. And what I did is I brought those in and said, when you walk into a listing appointment, you say, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, one of the benefits of working with Team Bjorkman is we absolutely appreciate your time and acknowledge the fact that you're busy. Just want to give you a little gift, right? So in the open house training, it's called guilt food. Like, you've got to feed them, you know, like agents, like they'll sit around and talk to you if you have food at your open house, or clients. Same thing for this. So an expressive the whole time will sit there and go, holy crap, now I have to give him something, right? Did you ever see that Big Bang Theory when Sheldon was like, don't give me a gift, because then he worried himself to death? It's kind of like the analytical, I mean, he was using his analytical side, but that's kind of how an expressive thinks too, and I always think that is the best show ever. I just die laughing because that's true. And an amiable too, that since we're talking about it, give them gifts because they're like, oh my God, especially handmade. Anything handmade, tears. It's stupid. All right, let's talk about the amiable. Does anybody in here know they're amiable and will admit it? So we all have a bit of something in us, right?
Right.
So typically the people that are amiable, like I can, as I look out right now, they usually look down a little bit. They're like, I don't want to admit that I'm like that, but yeah, you're amiable. So an amiable person is all about relationships, all about love, all about heart, real stuff. Like, this is, God, I just love you. Like, blah. Like, and I always talk about it like I go to their house and I see an amiable, and you'll know the amiable, there's like 14,000 pictures of the family. I'm like, oh shit. All right, let's do it. Where's your cat? I better pet that right now. You know, oh my God, those are the ugliest curtains. I know they're 14,000 generations old, and Aunt Mary made that crap with her bare hands. And if the house burns down, that's the first thing that goes out, and you're just like, tell me about the beautiful curtains. Aunt Mary, yeah, bingo. Like, you get that, right? And then when they say, would you like tea, wine? Yes. Always say yes. Because if you say no, they go, oh, he doesn't want to hang out with me. That's very rude. That's not a good way to start this relationship. We're not bonding, right? You need to bond with these people. And there's nothing better, and sometimes opposite attracts. There's nothing better when you have a driver wife and an amiable husband, or vice versa. Oh, God help you. It's just the worst appointment in the world. So anyways, the amiables, those are your hour-and-a-half long listing appointments, right? Especially if you have two amiables together, you'll spend the night, right? Like, hey, yeah, let's cuddle together on the couch and really talk about where the sign's going to go, which I've had to do. Right? So you have to sit there forever, really bond with them. And they don't really care about your marketing. They don't really care about your company. They don't care about your experience. They care about how much you care about them. Right? That's all they care about. So if they trust you and believe in what you say, they will list with you, and they will always be your best friend, and they'll send you 10 referrals a month. So as much as I can't stand amiables, they give me a lot of business because I can understand them and I make them feel like I care. I mean, I do. I shouldn't put it that way. As an expressive, I inherently care about everybody, whether I need to or not. It's stupid. Even when my enemies hate me, I lose sleep. But it's just something that you need to know. Hey, Rick, how are you? Hey, Martha, can we get him in there? Sneak in there. All right. So let's move on. Welcome, Rick. Sorry. We're moving on to analytical. So analytical is, as an expressive, is by far the worst. Like, I talk about amiable, and yes, I want to throw up, right? I just can't even stand it. But when I know I'm meeting with an analytical, that's it. Like, oh my God. So picture me trying to do a graph, right? Picture me trying to, you analyticals in the room when I was talking about that pie chart, like how many pieces of pizza are in a thing, and you're just like, what an idiot. Like, everybody knows 12 pieces in a pizza, and they're exactly 3 inches wide, and you have to cook it at 24.2 minutes, and it has to be this shade of brown and not the others. But analyticals are really interesting characters when you're negotiating with them. The most important thing you need to remember about an analytical, they have spent the last 7 days just totally planning on how they could screw you and say you're wrong, right? The good thing is they've analyzed the pricing of the house so damn good that they know the pricing better than you ever will. They know the neighborhood, they know the statistics, they know all the websites for crime and all that. And typically they'll walk up to you and say, or once you listen, they'll say, I know you know all this, but here's all the stuff I need you to do and talk about and list. You're just like, oh my God, like, I don't care how many dogs are in this neighborhood. Like, nobody does. But an analytical is hard to negotiate with. So you better be very prepared, right? It's all about numbers, all about statistics, all that crap that really, really matters to them. They're going to talk about, you know, how the beams are 12 inches apart instead of 16, and they're gonna talk about the warranty about the roof that goes for 40 more years, and you're like, dude, like, seriously, nobody cares. But, well, maybe that's because I'm expressive, right? But I don't care, put a new roof on. But these guys are like, oh no, the air conditioning is only 12 and a half months old. It's just stupid stuff like that. So make sure you're very, very, very prepared, and it's okay to not fight with an analytical. If you fight with them, they're only going to prove you wrong more, and they're going to kick your ass out with the whole "where's your card" thing. That makes sense? All right. So Tony Alessandro is my mentor for the last 25 years. Matter of fact, we just talked about the book yesterday, right? So I would always start out with the platinum rule and non-manipulative selling. Greatest guy in the world. I mean, I would have never been where I am today without him and his support and his seminars, whatnot. So if you're not writing that down, you're crazy.
Who was this again?
Tony Alessandro right here.
Non-manipulative.
Just Google it and all that crap comes up. So, like I said, we're going to do a very advanced negotiating class, and we do have personality classes, right, on our YouTube channel and my podcast that talks more about the DISC personality and a bunch of other personality styles. Also, Mr. Lyons, one of my other mentors, if you want to do this really simple, is the PEN technique. Have you guys ever heard of that, PEN? It's a very quick and easy way to check out somebody's personality style. So P stands for somebody who makes an emotional decision, which would be our amiable, and the P stands for psychotic. Right? And E is emotional. I mean, what is E? Extrovert, sorry.
Extrovert.
So E is for extrovert. So somebody like me, right? Inexpressive. Somebody that's outgoing, social, that's not afraid to go up, hey, nice to meet you, and all that good stuff. And you can find that out pretty quick, right? If you walk into a room and somebody comes up to you and just starts talking and they're very comfortable with themselves, you're dealing with an extrovert. Now the N in the PEN, P-E-N, stands for neurotic, right? That is your analytical. Somebody a little more slow to make decisions, somebody a little more cautious. So sometimes when I'm busy, when I'm at a network event and I'm dealing with hundreds of people, I'll just go PEN, 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 and I'm not going to try to break it down into 4 different personality styles. So I can do it because I've done it so long, but I'll just simply go PEN, PEN, and I'll just see who I need to talk to. Or when I'm very strategic about who I need to meet, I will pick them out and I will try to group them together as I go through a room. I'll say, let me do all the P's first because they're going to wear me the hell out, and then I'll go to the N's, the neurotic ones, they're going to wear me out. And then at the end of the night, I'll say, let's party with the extroverts. Those are the fun, really cool people that I like to hang out with. Does that make sense, everybody?
Yeah.
All right. You digging that?
Yes.
Can you remember that?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, David. P-E-N, pen. It's super simple. Pen. P, psychotic, makes decisions based on emotion. E is extrovert, fun people, cool people. We don't even need to bag on them. And then N, neurotic, analytical, slower, needs to make overthinkers. Right. No offense, all you guys. All right, let's move on. So whenever I negotiate with somebody, I have to think about this a little bit because we can help people make decisions in a good way or a bad way, right? Have you ever heard me say, hey, I trained that person, they used everything I taught them for evil? I say that a lot about people, but you gotta ask yourself, can they really afford this? Because I can talk anybody into going at the absolute max of their price range. One of the best parts about being in Southern California is most people want to do that anyways, right? Which is cool, but you gotta ask yourself, why do they want it? We got to find their needs. Do you really need this? Why do you need 5 bedrooms instead of 4? Because when you're going to start negotiating with them, we need to find out the true root of the problem. So if you're showing somebody a 4-bedroom house and the husband's like, nope, I need 5. Why? Well, we have 3 kids, I need an office. Is that true? How do I know that's true? Well, if I got to the bottom line, if I pulled that person aside, I'd find out because I'm so sick of fighting with my wife about the kids sharing a room. Something similar to that. There's always a real true reason behind it. That's why I want to find out their true whys. Do they have to have it? Does somebody absolutely have to have 2,000 square feet, or are they okay with 1,500? And all these things go through my mind before I start working with the client, whether it's a buyer or a seller, and I want to really make sure I know that I understand their wants versus needs. Are all the decision makers on board? So some of you guys that go out and show property to the husband or the wife alone, have you ever had the problem where, oh, thank you for showing me these 10 houses. This is my favorite one. Let's get hubby here tomorrow or wife here tomorrow. And the wife or hubby tomorrow goes, that house is awesome. What else you got? And you're just like, dude, what are you doing? Or you start negotiating about writing an offer with a client or a seller, and you go through this whole thing, and now you have to do it again for another hour with the wife or husband. I do this all the time sometimes. Like, I just go, what are you doing, Mike? Like, well, I'm a talker, right? So I just start throwing up all over people. But then I have to do it twice, and it's long, and it's exhausting, and God help you if you say something different, and then they talk later, and then you got to do it in front of them. So make sure all the decision makers on board, If you ever gone to a timeshare presentation, there's no way they're only taking one of you, right? There's just no way. Well, I'm going to go get a massage. No, you're not. You're coming to the timeshare thing now. They will make dang sure you're there. Is it truly the best decision for them? Do they understand the consequences? So I always say, you know, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, I can appreciate the fact you want to buy this 3,500 square feet for $1 million. Let me ask you a question. If she or you got laid off, how would you be able to afford this home? And I make them think for a minute. And they go, well, I would do this, that, and the other. That. Okay, look, it's my job to protect you, and I want to make sure that you understand the consequences of spending this kind of money. So there's a couple of reasons I do it. Number one, I want to show them that I care, right? That's another one of Cialdini's principles. They need to know I care about them. So this is one way to do it. And I am using a little bit of fear-based too, but I'm also causing an exhilarating event for them. So there's a lot of psychology that goes into that. Face-to-face. This is the most important thing I can ever tell you. Now, 95% of the homes I list are over the phone, but I've learned language, right? I know how to talk to people, but if you try to give all your crap over the phone, it's never gonna work. You know, and I ask you to look back, maybe in the last month. You're talking to somebody over the phone. Have you ever talked yourself out of an appointment? You go, what just happened? Everything was going so good, and now what happened? Does that ring a bell? Can anybody picture that in their mind? Because that's happened a lot. So face-to-face is always better. So we train agents. Like some agents will, like, they'll make them jump through so many hoops, right? Are you pre-qualified? You know, are you sure you have the down payment? Is it liquid? All this crap to go see a house. And I'm like, dude, how many buyers do you really lose that way? Some will debate me and say, well, at least I know I have the motivated, qualified, serious ones. But I don't like that. I want to meet them at the house immediately. Why? Because face-to-face, I could bond with them, create that relationship, and hopefully the next 10 agents that are starting to call them back from Zillow and Redfin and all that, I've already created that relationship where they're going to be somewhat, you know, bonded to me. They're going to be, you know, committed, maybe loyal. I don't know if loyal is the first word for the first day, but I'll go for it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So these things are things you got to consider. Objections. When you are negotiating, if you don't know what to say, how to say, when to say, you're screwed. We talk about how many hours a day we work on our skill set.
2 hours.
2 hours is prospecting and 2 hours a day is previewing, but 1 hour a day at least of skill set. Every day, to this day, I role play with my team, I role play with other agents here at this company, I role play. I'm always working on my skill set. And it's not only role play, but I watch YouTube and I watch all the podcasts and listen to them. There's not a script or a dialogue that I don't know. There's not an objection that I haven't heard 100 times that I can handle. And that's confidence and that's practice. So if you don't know your objections, you're screwed. You might as well just forget it. You can't negotiate if you don't know what to say. Write them all down. Everybody goes, Mike, will you give me a list of all the objections and all the scripts and dialogues? And I go, no, I can't. I don't have that. And they go, why? I'm expressive. I don't write stuff down. Right? But maybe some of you analyticals really get into there and really start writing a really big list of scripts and dialogues down. I did it one time for my property management class when we were selling it for $5,000. I did for weeks. I wrote down all the property management objections and the scripts and dialogues to go with them. It sucked. Can you come up with your own, right? You don't always have to listen to Mike Ferry or me or Tom Ferry or whatever. You can actually make up your own scripts and dialogues to handle objections. And after you practice a lot, things will flow out of your mouth just a little bit differently. And it's fun, right? When you're that confident, you can just say, all right, bring it to me, bring it to me. You want to talk about objections or commissions? You want to talk about no sign? What do you want to talk about? Length of contract? You know, Redfin, bring it. Always fun for me. And when you have that kind of confidence, you can knock it out of the park. Would you agree?
Yes.
All right. Handle objections in casual talk. Can anybody remember any past classes I've done what that is? Kind of like suggestive selling. When I used to go to listing appointments, I'd walk around the house and the guy'd be like, hey, how's it going to the girl? And I'd just, hey, it's really good. So what's going on today? Nothing, you know. I just left this appointment. I went on this freaking appointment and this girl's trying to talk me down to like 4%. I was like mind blown. You know that at least 1% goes to marketing, right? How could I do it at that? Yeah, that chick's crazy. Damn it, you know. And I start selling to them when they don't even notice it. So in casual talk, you know, I'll say, man, you know, that neighbor down the street, they've been on the market 4 weeks, they don't even have a sign. What a moron. Do you know how important a sign is? I mean, imagine if you go to work and Mary and Joe are talking about your house on the market and they could tell people about homes in your neighborhood. Would that help your home sell faster? Yeah. Can you believe your neighbor? What an idiot. Not those words exactly, but I'm putting things in their mind like, oh crap, I thought I didn't want to sign. Well, now I want to sign. So I'm handling all the objections while I'm getting to know them. So when it comes time, they're just like, yeah, I ain't saying nothing. Where do I sign? And that's a much better way than having to battle it out, right? Objections will I walk into, or sometimes they give you a few over the phone. You know, they're like, yeah, I'll see you Saturday at 6 o'clock. And by the way, I'm a 4% commission, no sign, I only want a 2-week contract. And you're like, okay, bye. So remember, write those down and say, this is how I'm gonna handle those. Because they usually give you a hint of what's gonna suck when you meet them. Show up, so physically, right? Do not show up at a negotiation appointment hungover, exhausted. Like, show up physically, like be ready. You know, one of my great mentors always says you have to give energy to receive it.
Yeah.
That's true. I mean, if you know you have a big negotiating day, hit the gym because you'll have energy all day long. Don't drink the soda, drink your greens. You know, do things that make a difference for your body, because if you're kind of tired and foggy, just forget about it, right? I mean, it's just stupid. You can't do it. Mentally and emotionally, leave your crap behind. So if you just had a humongous fight with your spouse and you're walking into a listing appointment and all you can think is how you want to strangle that person, like think about that. How are you going to react? I mean, you're just sitting there going, you kind of remind me of my wife. I'm going to punch you in the head. You can't. You got to leave your crap at the door. And it's so important that you got to rock yourself on the way over, your affirmations and all that stuff. But you have to leave that and dress the part of personality. So many times, if an IBM executive calls me to put their $2 million house on the market, am I going to dress like this?
No.
Hell no. I'm going to tie as good or better than them, and that's just the way it has to be. Dress the part. If I have a total expressive and I know the kind of person and they're just, you know, crazy fun, I might pull off the flip-flops for that. And you know, like Tammy, my business partner, she's awesome. She has outfits for every type of personality. Like the other day, she put a house on the market in Acton, and you know, she's in the boots, tucked in shirt. I mean, she still has the Gucci belt hanging out, but I mean, she rocks those. Oh, Lisa, they're back there. She has an outfit for every kind of personality, and I love the way she does that. And she never loses listings. All right, so affirmations and breathe. Right? What's a good affirmation? Does anybody have affirmations they use? Tell me some of them.
I'm a listing magnet.
Yes.
I can, I will, I must.
I can, I will, I must. Any more?
I'm a positive person. Money flows to me naturally.
I love that. That's freaking awesome. What else?
For your family.
Go ahead.
For your family.
Yep. What else? Look at it. Just hearing 5 or 6 of them, all of you are smiling now, and before you weren't. That's pretty powerful, right? That's one of the benefits of me standing up here. I get to see the energy flow. Like, it's crazy how that works. David, did you have something to say?
Oh, I love the thought that I'm the best listing agent in town.
God, that's mine, right? That's what I say. I am the best damn listing agent on the planet. And I'll say that as loud as I can, over and over and over, until I'm in the driveway. I am the best damn agent in this town. They are idiots not to list with me. I own this, right? And sometimes I'll say different things that I can't say here. But I really got to freak myself out, right? And I'm like, this is it. So when you walk in, you shake their hand, you pour energy into their soul, and they just, whoa, this freaking dude is powerful. And then you immediately demand and command respect from them when you transfer energy like that. But if you go, I hate my wife, I hate my life, I'm broke, and da-da-da, you walk into the house like, hey, what's up, man, nice curtains. They can feel that. They're not stupid, right? So take out all your emotions, be on their side. Would you guys agree that you've been on a listing appointment and it feels like you've walked into a boxing ring and they just want to fight everything? It's crazy to me. They're like, they already want to kick your butt on price. You haven't even talked about price. They just want to grind you and just destroy you. I actually walk in and I say, you know what, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, this is awesome. It feels so good to be on the same team. I'll have my part, you have your part. You want to hear some of your parts? Great. Tell me where you want your sign right now. They're like, holy crap, totally different than the last agent they've talked to or anybody else they've talked to. I'm on your side. I agree with everything they say. And I confirm everything they say. Feel their pain. Would we agree that sometimes people are selling a house because they don't want to, right? Most of you in the room are very blessed to never see the recession, but there's going to be a lot of listing appointments in the next few years that you go to, and you're not going to believe the stories that you hear. You're going to be in tears. You're going to be on your knees praying with these people, and it's not going to be fun, right? But you got to feel their pain and agree and just say, oh my God, I am so sorry. You know, thank God I'm here to help you. Like, oh my God. And say those types of words to them because they're going to need it. Approve and agree, everything they say, right? Well, I don't want to pay 6% commission. I think 3.5 is totally fine. Wouldn't you agree? So I'm already using NLP as them. Yeah, totally. I think 3.5 is a great percentage to pay the buyer's agent. Right? And then they giggle, you giggle, and I say, no, all kidding aside. But yeah, no, I agree. Look, I'm an agent. I have rental property all over this country. I hate paying agents. I hate it with a passion. But the reality is, it's very necessary, you know? So you got to approve and agree everything they say. Always compliment too. It doesn't matter. There's, I got in trouble last week for that. Never mind. Find something good about them and their house at all times. I'll just say what it is. Like, no, I'm not. Just find something good about the house. Just say, you have a great straight wall. You have a beautiful roof. Something, find something good. But as you compliment, you guys busted me over there. But just always be complimenting, right? It just feeds more good energy, right? I love it when agents before me go in and go, oh, your carpets. You gotta paint this shithole. Oh my God, look at, what is this from? Oh, there's cracks in there. And they beat this house to death. And the poor owner that has no idea is just going, what? You know, when you live in a house, you like don't even notice things. Like, you know, like in my house, I keep walking by this thing in the hallway of a cracked plate, electrical plate thing. It drives me insane, but I don't do anything about it. You know, I keep walking by, and it might be there for years. But there's people that don't realize their house is such a heap, you know? So you don't go in and tear it apart, just compliment it. Mirroring and matching is huge. I talk about this a lot, right? We all understand what mirroring and matching is. So if they're walking fast, you're walking fast. If they go like this, you go like this. You know, if they go like this, you go like this. There's all different types of things. And we might as well talk about body language too. So if somebody is going like this when you're in their living room talking to you, what's up?
They're hesitant.
They're protecting their money, right? Their hands are in their pockets, typically where they keep their money. They're very guarded, and they're protecting something in their pockets, which typically means money. You know, when they're like this, what are they doing?
Thinking.
They're guarded, but truly what it means is they need a little bit more information. If they lean towards you, that means tell me more. If they lean back, they're like, it's about time to go, right? You know, so you know, we'll get into way advanced NLP in the next couple of weeks. But there's a big part of that, and maybe I'll just tell the story again. My favorite story about, and it was when I was training Tammy a couple of summers ago. I went on an Alaskan cruise, and I met a gentleman in the cigar bar, right? Like midnight, there's nowhere else to drink and smoke. We're hanging out in there, and I overhear him and his wife talking about that they live in Santa Clarita. I'm like, no kidding. So me expressive, hey, no kidding, what's up? I'm Mike, you know, oh, I know who you are, da, da, da. Happened to have a sign across the street from them. And really cool guys, so we saw each other the next couple of days, bought him a few drinks. Anyways, long story short, a couple of weeks later, he calls me and says, hey, Mike, I want to sell my house. I said, cool. So Tammy and I go in the house. We're walking around, and this is a really nice house. We already know we're going up against a few people. And I'm going through my normal thing, and I noticed I was trying too hard because I was trying to train at the same time. Like, you do exactly what I say in class, Tammy. You know? And I just, at one point, I just said, forget it. And the guy, he offered me us a glass of wine. I said, fine, let's have a glass of wine. And we're talking about a winery in Solvang. Luckily, it's like the only one I remember the name of, and it happened to be the right one. Oh, that's my favorite wine. Yeah, sure. Good drink wine. So he goes, let's go sit down in the dining room. I said, cool. So he goes like this. He comes over and he pours a glass of wine. And he goes like this on his really expensive chair. And I'm sitting across the dining room table. I said, F it. All right. Right with him like this. Tammy looks at me and she goes, what the? And I can just feel it because we're like brother and sister. I can, you know. And he goes, you know what? Did you bring the paperwork? I go, yeah, absolutely. He goes, let's just sign it. Because I was mirroring and matching this guy so intensely that we were moving as a machine together. And that was it. When you put your foot on a nice suede expensive chair and we both do it, we're like homies forever now. So mirroring and matching is I mean, I have lots of stories like that. I really do have a lot of stories like that, but that was the best one because I know it was an expensive chair. You know, we have this fresh glass of wine, and I felt like it was going to be another hour. And the guy, you know, I trust you now. So that was kind of cool. Suggestive selling. So we talked about this a little bit earlier, but Mike Ferry taught me this way back in the day. I was maybe 21 years old. So it's pretty simple as agents. We all went to elementary school, I think. Who, what, when, where, how. What is that? Is that a... What are those?
Like how to write a script or something.
Oh, okay, I'm on. Prepositions? I don't know. Nouns, verbs, who cares? Let's go with that. But it's really nice if you think that who, what, when, where, how, who, what, when, where, how, who, while you're walking through the house, things become a lot easier for some reason because you're actually, sorry, anyway, you're actually getting to pick out things that are necessary. And I talked about it before I go, as I walk through the home or as I sit down at the table, I say, do you mind if I ask you a couple very important questions before we get started with the paperwork? And they're like, yeah, go ahead. I've already said before we start the paperwork, right? You guys catch that? So they're like, ah, crap, I'm signing paperwork. So they have some time to process that. But I go, when I put your home on the market tonight, who is going to be the person that gets the phone calls for showings? Oh, well, that'll be Nancy. She's home all day. Fantastic. Nancy, what's your cell phone number? What hours are you typically home? Gotcha. Where do you want me to put the for sale sign? I saw a really nice rose bush out front. Why don't we put it a few feet out from there? The rose bush catches so much attention when people are driving by that'll help them look at the sign too and hopefully write down my phone number. Does that make sense? And they're like, yeah. When? My photographers are very busy. When is the best time I can squeeze them in this week to get the photos done? I used it yesterday with Andy. They said, can we do Friday? I go, I don't know, I'm gonna try. Can you be super available on Friday? Oh yeah. And this is before I even have the listing agreement signed. And we're already booking Andy out for a drone tour. Where, what? You know, what publications have you seen homes in that you're impressed with? Or what are you really looking for in an agent? Is it some of the things that I do, like this, that, or the other? And they get very much involved in the process. How, right? How do you like to communicate? And I would say this is really important because you should ask this question to everybody. How do you like to communicate? Is it Facebook Messenger? Is it text messaging? Is it Snapchat? How do you want to communicate with me? Because that's how I'm going to communicate with you. And then they say, oh, well, it's Instagram messaging. Oh, fantastic. Pull out your phone, search them up, send a message. You get it? Okay, great. Now you're on the same level and you're acting very similar to them. Birds of a feather,
Together.
right? So they like to be on the same wavelength. What was it? Oh, we were just talking this morning, right, about emails. 20% of the people in this room, on average, open their emails. This room's better because 50% of you raised your hand when I said, did you get the email? But as I look through our stats, 20% of all 300 of our agents open their mail. That's pretty pathetic, right? But if I Facebook message some of them, they'll respond right away. If I text some of them, they'll respond right away. We like to talk and communicate in different avenues and different platforms. Would you agree on that?
Yes.
Can you guys do that with your clients?
Yes.
All right, perfect. Remember this or sync. This is very important. If you don't do that, it feels like you're fighting them on everything. So agents need to have super confidence. Most agents are scared to death to say, where do you want your lockbox hung? And that's the very first thing I do, right? Oh God, I love this door. You know, it's really nice. Would you mind if I hang the lockbox on the pipe? No, yeah, that's probably a better spot. Click. If you hang a lockbox before you get in the house, do you think you have a pretty good chance of the listing? You see why this is so powerful, right? And if you guys know Michael Hellickson, he always talks about that. I've always hung it first on the door or whatever, and I take the key thing and I'll bring it with me and I'll set it down where I set my stuff. But Hellickson, he said, and I've seen the videos of him doing it, takes the lockbox and just goes, puts it right on the table, and he purposely makes it go, you know, I'm not crazy, I don't want to like slam it on their table, but I will bring things that make them go, oh wow. One of the very best things you can bring is a sold sign. And you bring that into the house with you with your lockbox. And when you bring the sold sign in, you say, just before we get started, I cannot wait to take a picture of you with this for our social media. Won't that be great? Start it off like that. They're like, oh. So that's a form of NLP too. Like if you look at it, they can already picture, right? They're framing. They can already picture in their mind exactly that photo, where they're going to stand. And if they can't, they're going to start thinking about, will I stand in front of my front door? Will I stand in front of the sign? Where am I going to stand when Mike sells my house? How powerful is that? So practice those things. When you role play with your other agents and your partners and colleagues, practice those things because it goes weird the first couple times, but then it flows naturally. and you act like you're just the boss. Like, where do you want this? How do you want this? How do you want this done? And do you guys have database entry sheets where you have a clipboard and you start talking about all these different things? Is there anything rented in the home? Solar, soft water heaters? If you don't have that, make sure you reach out to my assistant Lindsay. Tell her to send that to you, because that's really powerful too, to get them involved. If you get the seller super involved, they're going to list with you. It's just the way it is. Now, how many people are thinking right now going, I never thought this class would be like this for negotiating? Does it feel a little different? Did you guys come in here thinking that this was going to be like negotiating at a table, well, this, that, and the other? Isn't that weird to think that all this stuff is part of negotiating?
Yeah.
I've already won, right? I'm not even at the table and I've won this damn listing. They have no chance in hell. The only time they have a chance, and I'll be super honest, 27 years in the business, and you know, a pretty good income. If I lose a listing here and there, I don't really give a shit. I was at a listing appointment the other night and I brought Tammy with me to torture her because it was like 6 o'clock on Monday. And we're sitting at the table. The dude next to me is a total douchebag. And I'm just like, this sucks. I don't even want this listing. And Tammy's my little pit bull, right? And she's like, hell no. He's like, well, let me sleep on it all. Thank God, let's get out of here. And she's like, oh, come on, no way in hell. She's like, I'm sorry, no. 2 minds are better than 1. What do you want to think about? Let's go, buddy. And she just railroaded him. In 5 minutes, we were walking out with the full price, full commission listing. I'm just going, thank God I brought you because I didn't even want that listing, right? Where was I going with that?
You were talking about negotiating.
Yeah, oh, that's right. I was just like, this is burnout. I didn't want to negotiate with this guy. I was like, I just didn't want to do it. And luckily she did, because she just saved like $20,000 paycheck for us. So always bring Tammy with you. So NLP and tie downs are really easy. NLP, very basic, very beginning NLP. We got to remember it's deadly, right? So I go back to, sometimes expressives are natural born salespeople. I can think about back in high school what I used to be able to talk little girls into, right? Like, it's very deadly. You can help people make very bad decisions very quickly. So think about it before you do that. Your motivation must be pure. You're educating people at all times. You're never going to talk them into anything. You're never going to try to sell them anything for your own benefit. You're educating them only. You're helping people make good, honest, pure decisions. You're only here to serve and add value. Picture your spouse or child in their shoes. That's some way, and that's an NLP technique I'll use on you guys so you understand how powerful it is. Think about, has it ever happened to you, insurance products and retirement vehicles? Many of us in this room have sat down with a life insurance agent or a financial planner, right?
Yes.
They have probably, and I'll just tell you, they've sold you crap you didn't need, overpriced, because why? They got a flyer this morning from some company saying, if you sell our life insurance versus another one, we'll give you an extra $5,000 if you do it in the next 7 days. That's how you get sold. So they talk you into it, and they start using stuff on you like, you know, what if little Johnny gets hit by a car tomorrow? You know, and you're just like, oh man, okay, where do I sign? So, bless you. And so I think about my wife in a room with one of these insurance agents. You know, if I wasn't there, if I passed away or something, my blood boils to think that somebody is doing that. Like I remember one time my dad and my grandma were fighting and I couldn't understand why. And a salesman, door-to-door salesman, sold my grandma like a $25,000 air conditioning system when all she needed was a $5,000 one, right? And my dad was furious, and he wasn't furious at her, he just felt so bad that he wasn't there to protect her. You guys feeling this at all? Okay. So you got to remember when you're doing that. Carolyn, want to come sit down, sweetie? Come on, man. All right, you guys get that pretty clear? All right, tie downs. So how many times today have I said, does that make sense, and shaking my head like this? Right? Now, the reason I point that out is because this is my favorite one. It actually helps you guys engage with me and agree with me and appreciate what I'm doing. Are you with me? You know, when I'm at a listing appointment, sometimes if it's an analytical or just I don't even know where to go with the appointment, I'll just start going through the contract. And typically I go, this thing, all it says is don't lie to the buyer and nobody gets sued. That's how I do it with the driver. But sometimes I have to go through that and I'll just say, yeah, this you know, I'm talking about the commission and we split the commission this way. Are you with me? And they're like, yeah. Because if you say, are you with me to somebody, they're going to be like, oh yeah, whether they are or not, they're like, yes, I'm with you, because they don't want to feel stupid. right? A lot of these things make them feel stupid. Wouldn't that be great? That's the ultimate Mike Ferry script in the world. Everything he says, won't that be great? And you're like, yeah, that's Mike Ferry. Yeah, that's Mike. So I use that one a lot. Oh, and don't forget the tight out. Awesome, fantastic, perfect, me too, of course. You get this, right? Like, I'm not gonna say, no, I don't get it. Like, no, yeah, that's crazy. Exciting, huh? Like, you wanna pump somebody up, you say, we can have the photos done Friday and you on the market by Monday. That's exciting, right? And they're like, yeah, now I'm excited. Because if you don't do that, they're never gonna catch what you're doing. Did that come out right? Yeah. When you're trying to explain something and they're like, I don't like this. I don't want to pay a 7.5% commission. You're like, did that come out right? And they're like, yeah? Great. Now we're together. Now we're aligned, right? You know, the other thing that Caldini says is we always have to align with the person. We have to align and then we have to hook them, you know, give them a reason to trust and like you, and then we have to convert them into a sale. AHC, align, hook, convert technique. We'll go into that later on the advanced class. Everybody's all, oh shit, now what is he saying? But I love these. And the reasons I put these on there, these are the ones that naturally flow out of my mouth. Does that make sense? Every one of you are shaking your head with me. It's powerful, right? That's a form of mass hypnosis, by the way. Every one of you. Except for, I swear to God, I won't point anybody out, I'll look at the site, except for the damn analyticals. They're just like, you're so full of shit. All right. Embedded commands. You know, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, tonight when you approve the paperwork, I'm going to go ahead and collect 3 keys from you. Does that make sense? Yeah. Tie it all in, right? Embedded commands are the most powerful thing you can do. Remember to pause. Gene Bleeker. Yes, before we start the paperwork. Where are you going? Don't leave me. I love you. Okay. Goodbye. No, you're going. I'm just a little sick. Bye, guys. All right. Nonverbal anchor, too. Nonverbal anchors, especially at a table, are really powerful. Before we start the paperwork, would you agree that tonight's the night to get your home on the market? Nonverbal. When I speak in front of large audiences, I'm going to anchor people down as I walk by. People that I want to sell. You know, if I touch you, 9 times out of 10, you're going to buy from me later. That's just the way it is. Because not only have I commanded and embedded, but now I've also anchored you too. Change the tempo, downward direction. If somebody says, do you want to list with me tonight? It sounds a little different than, do you want to list with me tonight? You know, if you have an up tempo, it sounds like a lie. That's a very good way to catch people in lies, by the way. When they go up at the end of their sentence, now you know, you're like, nah, you're a ding dong. What time is it?
12.
That's why we have 2 of these. Is it really 12 o'clock right now?
11:57.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Okay, everybody Google embedded commands. We have a USP class on the YouTube channel. Watch it. It's an hour long, all about USPs. We're just gonna have to go through this. This is for you guys. This is the last thing and then I'll stop because we still have like 10 more slides. Exposing words are very powerful. And I don't want you guys to ever say this because you'll notice crappy salespeople say this all the time. How much is this car payment? Well, it'll be in the range of $500 to $525. What? No, man. I can probably get it for you for $500 less. Probably? No. Somebody did that to me yesterday. I said, don't say if to me. Like, that's not cool. I can't really do that. Well, what really can you do, ding dong, right? They're thinking about it. Like, think about things you bought. Oh, the bosses are thinking about it. No, you know more than that. Be honest with me. Well, maybe we can go back at $499. And your clients are looking at you like, no, I want you to be confident and tell me what I'm gonna pay for this house. Right? Are you sure that's all you can do? That is the stupidest thing in the world. Andy's been with me 100 times when I've been selling shit from Craigslist. And they go, are you sure that's the best you can do? What do I say?
No, all the time it's the funniest thing to watch you.
I just say, no. Mike Ferry, any other questions? Like, duh, it works. I'm just not sure. See, I never went to college. I've never seen that, but I'll try. That is the absolute worst one you can say. And I can only think of car salesman, right? When you see this one. Have you guys ever bought a car? Like, you've seen that, right? Okay. Exposing words. If you need these slides, they're in my Google Drive. I'll send them to you. Oh, okay, one more, okay? All right, tactics for the buyer, because you guys buy a lot of crap, right? Tears, best way possible. I'll turn it on, I'll look at my wife, and I'll wink at her, she'll go, ooh. That's how I get out of timeshares. Like that. Higher authority. I swear to God, I was at a Maserati dealership a couple of weeks ago with my 16-year-old son, and I'm talking to him. I said, when the salesperson comes to me, and I really like this car, but he says, Dad, I won't use the word he said, but if you buy this white convertible, you're gonna look like that. And I said, okay, I don't wanna look like that. But the salesman, and I just said, well, I could never do this without my wife. What's he gonna say? Don't be a puss, man, you can buy it without your wife. No. Okay, I'll call you. It's the best way out of anything, higher authority. I can't do it unless my mom says so. All right, you guys get that? Walk away? How many times have you heard, oh, I just walked away and they came after me? You know, where's Renee? She just did that when she bought her car the other day. Trade-offs, set aside. Trade-offs are cool. Like, look, I'll pay for that, but you're gonna boot me a brand new stereo and I don't want rims and tires. A couple grand, right? I was trying to get that anyways. All right. So sometimes nibble, but don't be nibble. We all have that client, right, that just says, well, I want this fixed. I want the chip in the bathtub fixed. I want that tile. And then every time you get them something, they ask for something else, right? That's nibbling. That's the best negotiating in the world. We have clients right now that I love that didn't get shit. But we have clients that I hate. They've gotten thousands and thousands of dollars from nibbling. They're good negotiators. And there's a lot of, never mind. Make sure it's in writing. Every time a salesperson promises me something, I always try to go to the top, right? The manager or the owner of the company. But anytime I say, can you put that in writing? Shoot me an email, shoot me a text, give me a business card. 5,000 off if I buy it today, right? Here, just sign your name on that. They're like, oh, God, okay. You know, get it in writing no matter what. Be upfront about competition. Hey, I'm Mike, I'm looking at this Corvette today. Yeah, I'm about to go down to the valley and look at another one here too, just so you know. I'm pretty serious about buying a car, but I am gonna go down there too. They're like, oh, better give them a good deal up front, right? At least start a little bit better. Never get confrontational. And as for me, that's really hard to do, right? I mean, like, tell them the story of Mexico.
No.
We almost went to jail in Mexico.
At a
because
timeshare thing.
I
It was
wanted
like
a free
timeshare.
carousel or whatever we did. But yeah, it was pretty funny. So at the 12th person, I just couldn't handle it anymore, or I just lost my mind. And anyways, all right, you guys. Okay, that's cool. That's the end. Any questions?